Ons gesels vandag met Louie Giglio, 'n man wat geen bekendstelling nodig het nie en wat 'n voorreg is dit nie om met hom te kan gesels nie. Louie, welcome to South Africa. It's such an honor to have you here. First of all, I want to know, what is the heart behind the Passion Tours?
Well, our heart is just to really export the vision of what Passion is all about. And that, I think the simplest way to say that is to help people awaken to what they're here for. You know, all of us are on planet Earth today, but the key is not just to be on Earth, to have a job, to be in a relationship. The key is to know why we're here. And so our message for the last 18 years, the Passion Conference, has been that we exist for the glory of God, that we are created by Him and for Him. And so we want to see people awaken to that, because I don't think any of us are going to live to our full potential until we really know that it's not God who plays a part in our story, but we play a part in God's story. And that's the best news of all. And so, you know, doing that at big events in America has been incredible, but there are people all over the world who need to see and awaken to that same story. So we've been traveling the last 6, 8, 10 years to cities around the world, key cities around the world, and strategic places around the world to host and gather events like we're going to do here at Passion Pretoria and Passion Cape Town.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I want to ask is, why exactly South Africa? And do you have hope for South Africa?
Well, you know, the million-dollar question is, why Cape Town, why Pretoria, why South Africa? And I don't really know the answer to that. I know that a few years ago, we did a message called Indescribable. And somehow that message synced up and linked up with the people of South Africa in an extraordinary way. We were, you know, running our small shop in Atlanta, and the phone rang one day, or an email came through one day, and it was an order for 5,000 Indescribable DVDs, which was crazy in and of itself. And they were all going to South Africa. And around the office, the conversation was, has anybody ever been to South Africa? Does anybody know anyone in South Africa? And the answer was no. So how did that happen? We don't know. But that was followed up by another order and another order and another order. And then some sort of explosion happened of that message in this country. That was before we'd ever come here. And so God must have some kind of a synergy between our heart and the heart of the people of South Africa, and I am so grateful for it. And so when we come in February, this will be the third cities, Cape Town and Joburg, Pretoria, that we have done 3 events in the world: Manila, Vancouver, and now South Africa. So why is it that of all the places on earth that God has planted us here 3 times in the last 7 years? It must be that, to answer your question, it doesn't matter whether I believe there's hope for South Africa. What matters today is, does God believe there's hope for South Africa? And He must believe there's hope for South Africa to put it on the hearts of people all over the world, but to put it on the hearts of some people in Atlanta, Georgia, to say, I want you to go there, I want you to serve people, I want you to gather the church, I want you to be a catalyst for wind in the sails of people who are believing for the future. And my thought on South Africa from a distance is, South Africa was, and now South Africa is becoming. She isn't what she's going to be. She's on the way to becoming the fullness of what she's going to be. It is a strategic country, a strategic people, in a strategic time. And God always wants to be in that moment, because as people say, and I believe, South Africa is the hope of Africa, and I think an important and strategic nation in the entire world. And so we're delighted to be a part of God's hope for South Africa.
Obviously, you tour a lot, and I want to know exactly what are the things that you take out of these tours? I mean, you've got a talent to describe God in such an easy, clear way. What do you take out of your tours?
Well, you know, it's interesting. When you go around the world, in 2008, the first time we came here to South Africa with Passion, we were in 17 cities and 16 nations in 3 months. Imagine that. So we went from Kampala, Uganda on one night to Paris, France 2 nights later, to London, Sydney, Kuala Lumpur, Hong Kong, Tokyo, Sao Paulo, Brazil, Kyiv, Ukraine, all these various places. And when you start out on that journey, the dilemma is, how will we translate this to all these cultures, all these settings, all these languages, all these different peoples? And then after it's over, you realize the gospel transcends everything. And so our message and story is not an American message. It's not even a Western message. People say, oh, you're bringing that Western religion to Europe or to South America. We're like, no, Jesus is not from the West. Jesus is a Middle Easterner. He's a Jewish-born carpenter from a lower-income family, right smack dab in the middle of the Middle East. He's not American or Western or South African. He transcends all of that because he was God in human flesh. So what I've taken away from the world tour is that Jesus is making good on his promise. He said, I will build my church and hell will not stand in the way. And he's doing that very well. He's doing it all over the world. And when you walk away from these cities, you're blown away by the fact that it's actually happening everywhere on earth, and you're encouraged. And the thing I love the most about these world tour dates is, good or bad, the world is shrinking. And the internet has connected us all in an instant community. And God's message is spreading faster and further than ever before.